The odds of us not catching a Kobe Bryant and LeBron James NBA final were 1 in a million. We really had to have everything fall the wrong way for those two not to cross paths at any time. And I'm going to get into it. Kobe Bryant came into the league in the 96 draft, the number 13th overall pick. By 97, 98, he was shooting all air balls in the playoffs. 98, 99, he was an all-star game starter. By 2000, 2001, he was winning his first titles with Shaq. And he was tough. And he three-peated. By the time LeBron James got into the league, Kobe was in the finals for his fourth straight year. Now, here's where things get dicey to me. I'm going to get right into it. This is not going to be a long piece. I just want to get to the point. 03-04, the Lakers lost in the finals to the Detroit Pistons, 4-1. Nobody could understand how that happened. I mean, we were literally in shock. Not only did the Lakers improve their team in that particular year, in their three-peat, they had a particular team. For that team to get their fourth title, they added Gary Payton, who was still playing at a high level, and Karl Malone. It was a dream team. And that's the year they lost. And then just a few short years later, 07, Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron and no one else, they beat that Detroit team that beat the Lakers. They go to the finals. But the Lakers couldn't get there. So I think who the hell they played? The Spurs. So in 07, LeBron gets there, and then the Lakers could not. So you figure, okay, we're about to see some Magic Bird stuff. We're going to see the Magic Bird. We'll know who's really the best because Michael Jordan came into the league as the best player in the league. And I'm gonna take it back. We're going to rewind for a second. I'm cutting my birthday cake. I turned 5. And a guy named Michael Jordan, on the night of my birthday, is playing his first NBA game, which was awesome. So I followed Jordan right from the beginning. And then in the 90s, he hits his pocket. And you got to judge a guy by his best 10-year pocket. See what he did then. Jordan three-peated. 91, he beat Magic and the Lakers. 92, Clyde in Portland. 93, the MVP, Charles Barkley, three-peat. Okay? The Knicks in 93 had the Bulls. The Knicks were up 2-0 on the Bulls, and they lost every game and blew the series. But the Knicks actually gave the title Bulls the toughest series they ever had, then Indiana later on. But in 94, Jordan retired. A lot of things happened I won't get into. Played baseball. Olajuwon won the title. 95, he comes back. But the NBA playoffs start in April. He came back in March. He did drop a double nickel, but he ran into Young Penny and Shaq in the playoffs, and they got beat. Jordan was rusty. So what did Jordan do? He came back in 95, 96, and they get to the playoffs, and they face the same Orlando team, and they swept them 4-0. So that just goes to show you the mentality of a killer. So Jordan righted that wrong. Then they went on for another three-peat. So in Jordan in the 90s, Jordan won 6 championships out of 6 full seasons. 94, he didn't play. 95, he played 3 weeks, jumped into the playoffs after playing right field for 2 years. So Jordan went 6 for 6. But in 96, a young Jordan wannabe kind of Kobe Bryant came in the league. And then by 2000, right at the turn of the century, we realized, see, if you didn't live through it, you just think Kobe was a high-volume scorer and this and that. But Kobe scored 29, 30 points a game in the final. Kobe had that assassin in him. Kobe, you didn't have to teach to be aggressive and to be a killer. Kobe had it. And when Shaq and Kobe got together, they were unstoppable. Then they three-peated. Now I'm going to bring you up. Kobe was the best two-guard in the league. Michael Jordan once made a comment to Kobe Bryant like, yeah, you got my sneakers on, but you'll never fill them. Kobe remembered that. When Jordan came back to the Wizards, Kobe Bryant made sure to tell Mike, make sure you're guarding me, all right, Mike? So Kobe Bryant, at about 22, 23 years old, Jordan was already 40, he put 55 on Mike in the first half. Kobe Bryant scored 55 on Mike in the first half. Now, I don't think LeBron could ever score 55 on Kobe in any half. I remember in 2000. I remember being on vacation watching NBA on Sunday, like in a hotel room with my girl in like 07, 08. LeBron was already about 23, 24, and they had the big showdown, Cleveland versus the Lakers. It was before LeBron went to the Heat. I remember Kobe still getting the best of LeBron when Kobe was about 29, 30, and LeBron must have been about 23, still young. But they wanted to make LeBron the king while Kobe was still winning chips. And then here's what bothers me. LeBron went to the championship round in 2007. Okay? The Lakers went to the finals in 8, 9, and 10. How could LeBron not get back once in those 3 years? That kills, that robbed the fans of what we really wanted to see. So in 08, the Lakers lose to Boston. See, now in 07, Boston had a tough team. Boston ended up beating the Lakers. This is how basketball doesn't make sense. Boston, Rondo, Allen, Pierce, Garnett, tough enforcers, Tony Allen. Boston won against Cleveland, and I had my sit up in the chair, my ears perk up moment about LeBron James. I saw them bullying LeBron, and LeBron come down the lane and rise and keep rising and jam on all of them. Like, and that was the moment I was like, wow, this kid is stronger than all three of them at once. He is the man. And I saw LeBron conquer that Boston team. So then in 08, I didn't expect them to get past LeBron, but they beat him up. And then in 08, the Lakers play the Celtics, and Boston beats the Lakers up. So now the Lakers lose, and I'm shocked because I'm a Kobe guy. And I'm like, how could he be the best? You know, because they had Gasol, Odom, Bynum. It was a different team. And everybody wanted to say Bynum. Where did Bynum's career go after he disappeared with the Lakers? It went nowhere. So where did Odom go? To drugs. Well, you know, Gasol was the only good player on that team that was worth note to talk in reference to history. Years down the road, you look back, Kobe did a hell of a job with that team. They went to the finals 3 years in a row. So 09 comes around, and the Lakers are in the West, and they're playing the Denver Nuggets and Carmelo Anthony. And Cleveland is in the Eastern Conference Finals playing Jameer Nelson, Hedo Turkoglu, and Dwight Howard. So we're like, this is it. This is it. The 09 Finals, I remember saying, it's going to be Kobe versus LeBron. I was tweeting, I was doing. I was like, yo, this is Magic Bird of our era. Do you know how lucky we are? We were this close to seeing Kobe, LeBron in the finals, both of them in their prime. In 09, Kobe had just turned 30, and LeBron was 24, 25. So it was perfect. And the Lakers took care of business. They beat Carmelo in Denver. And then Orlando beat Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals. So the Lakers played the Magic. J.J. Redick was on that team. It was Jameer Nelson, J.J. Redick, Hedo, Dwight Howard. I forgot who the power forward was. Maybe Horace Grant was still there 100 years later. But the Lakers beat Orlando, and they never got to play Cleveland, which sucks. So the Lakers got their first title, Kobe without Shaq. So Kobe got his fourth ring. And then now 2010, Kobe's 31. LeBron's 25. I mean, no more excuses. So the Lakers get to the finals, beat the Spurs or whoever, somebody tough. And the Celtics beat LeBron and Cleveland again. So now the Lakers got to beat the team that kicked the shit out of them in the finals, a tough Celtic team. KG, Pierce, you don't have anybody soft on that team. So the Lakers got to play the Celtics, and what did they do? They beat them. The Lakers go back-to-back in the end of the decade without Shaq. So Kobe went three-peat and then lost one in the beginning of the 2000s. At the end of the 2000s, he lost one and then repeated. Guy got 5 rings, went to the finals 7 times in the decade. So that was awesome. And if you're following along, you got Jordan's, all of his titles are in the 90s. Kobe, all of his titles in the 2000s. Now we get to LeBron. The next year with the Heat, they lose. And then they went back to back with the Heatles with Dwayne Wade and them, and then that was it till 2016 when LeBron went. When 2016, Kobe was already 37, 38. He came off Achilles. He was done. LeBron was already the best player in the league. And then when LeBron really showed me that like he's on that Mount Rushmore was when he came back on a 72-9 team and played the way he played. That was otherworldly. And I always pay attention to guys' ages. That's 31-year-old LeBron. 31-year-old LeBron. It was like his body was still 100%. His mind caught up. Everything was aligned. That was the best LeBron we've ever seen. 31-year-old LeBron on that comeback series against Golden State. That was amazing to me. And LeBron was the best player in the league. So LeBron got the only issue I take with LeBron a little bit with the legacy thing is I looked back at all of his 20 seasons and I didn't realize he only won 2 championships in regular 82-game seasons, which kind of makes me, it doesn't diminish him, but it just makes me like pause because one of the titles with the Heat was a 50-game lockout season, more rest, more chilling. One of them was a bubble season that nobody wanted to be in with the pandemic. So Anthony China Doll Davis didn't have a chance to get hurt because he would have. So they got lucky there. And he did win one with the Heat when Ray Allen saved them. And then he won the best one ever. That one with Cleveland probably makes up for the shortened season. So he's got 4. But I can't just put LeBron ahead of Kobe either. I believe that Jordan is the man. Kobe took the mantle great, and he was the closest thing to Jordan. But he was much more. They try to paint him as just a volume scorer and he was much more than that. So Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron all deserve to be on the Mount Rushmore of non-centers. They all did great things. So, I mean, Cleveland getting to the finals when he was a baby and lost was still impressive. But it's just weird how the Cleveland team beat the Detroit team that beat the Lakers. Detroit couldn't beat the Chauncey Billups, Hamilton, Prince, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace Pistons. But then young LeBron beat that team. But then young LeBron couldn't beat that Orlando team that the Lakers beat in the finals. It just didn't add up. So we definitely got robbed of seeing Kobe versus LeBron in the finals. But hey, what are you going to do? That happens. But that's just my recollection of how it came about with the Michael Jordan phenomenon. The thing about Jordan is when Jordan was in the league, from the first day to even when he came back, nobody ever questioned Michael being the greatest. Kobe, they did. LeBron, they do. Michael was Michael. So he'll always be number one, definitely. And you could always make arguments and debates that he had to go through this, he had to go through that. But that's why they're debates and they're fun. That's just my humble opinion. But for a guy to win six championships in a row, his last full 6 seasons, that's a little more than the LeBron like getting there. And for Kobe to win 5 in a 10-year clip in the same decade is impressive. And nobody came in readier than Kobe. Kobe at 19, 20, 21, 22 was light years better than LeBron as far as a winner, a closer, all that stuff. And Jordan was beating the pros in the Pro-Ams, Olympics on the college team beating the pros. So they say LeBron was the most developed young, but when you go back and look at that stuff, that's debatable too. But these are fun. I want the young generation to chime in so I can hear from like guys like my cousin that will give me LeBron support. I want to hear from all different guys. So leave your comments in the box. Neighborhood picks, like and subscribe. Today is just NBA going through the holy trinity of Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron.